Graham Elwood with another episode of Church of the Dark Knight. I want to talk about white privilege because I'm a straight white guy. So I've been able to enjoy it a little bit. And here are some examples just to give you a little background on myself. I grew up in Madison, Wisconsin, which is a very white liberal college town. And I lived in there in the 70s, and there was anti-Vietnam protests and stuff like that growing up. And my father was a college professor there. So we met a lot of intellectuals, and people had different ideas, would come to our house and have dinner, and there'd be these big political discussions about everything going on from Vietnam to Nixon to then, the oil embargo and all this stuff that was happening. So then we moved my parents got divorced, and then when I was about 11, almost 12, we moved from Madison, Wisconsin to Evanston, Illinois. And Evanston is one of the first suburbs north of the city of Chicago on Lake Michigan. Evanston has been integrated for over 100 years. So after the Civil War, when freed slaves and many Southerners, white and black, came north for the industrial jobs because the Industrial Revolution was starting, they came up to cities in the north, cities like Chicago, and Evanston was one of the few places where black people could own property. So it's been an integrated city for a long time. My junior high was 50, almost 60% black. My high school was 40%. So I grew up in this very unique environment, and I saw a lot of different things. And I played sports in high school, and we would go to other suburban schools, and those suburban schools were almost all white. And everyone was kind of afraid of us because, we were the crazy, inner city ghetto school or whatever. And I also had to take some abuse as being a white kid from black kids, but it wasn't institutionalized. Like I said, I've never been pulled over by the cops for no reason, and I know so many black people that say they have. And it's like, I would say, come on, you're probably doing something wrong or whatever. I'll give you a great example. A friend of mine who still lives in Chicago, white dude, has a decent job. He's not crazy rich, but just has a good job. He's a college-educated guy. He doesn't drive a super fancy car. He drives like a Toyota Camry or something like that. Makes like kind of an illegal U-turn. Cop sees him, pulls him over. He's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I made the U-turn." Cops also was like, "Hey, your tags are expired." He goes, "I need to see your license." And my friend goes, "I don't have it on me. It's in my bag that's in the trunk." Cop says, "Okay, fine." Friend goes back there, pops the trunk, digging in his bag, right? Digging in his bag. Cop can't see his hand. Pulls out his ID, gives it. The cop is never scared. He never puts his hand on his gun, never does any of that stuff. A black guy in the city of Chicago with the Chicago Police Department is what we know about them. That would have gone a way, way different way. Now, my friend goes, "Now, Grandma, I wasn't rude to the guy." I said, "Yes or no, sir." Is that something the black community could start doing? I would suggest it. I'm not justifying any unarmed man getting shot by a cop. That's awful, and there's a problem there. But there's another example of white privilege. I walk into a store, a bank, everyone's like, "Hey, how are you?" No one's scared, no one's worried, no one's any of those things. I'll give you another example. My girlfriend has a Bernie Sanders sticker on her car, and she's had it there since the spring of 2016, since the primary. And she's told me that almost on a weekly basis during the election, even after Bernie lost the nomination, like white guys in trucks would yell, swear at her, flip her off, and they all had Trump stickers on their car, and they say all this shit, "Fuck you, Bernie, and you liberal," and say all this crazy shit to her. When I was in the car with her, that never happened. I borrowed her car on numerous occasions because she's got a cooler car than I do. And no one ever said that to me. Not even got a dirty look from a guy. So it would be easy for me to go, "Oh, my girlfriend's overreacting," or whatever. She's told me crazy shit guys have said to her. She's an attractive girl, and it's obviously they never say it when I'm around. So it would be easy for me to say, "Oh, she's being crazy, she's overreacting, it's not that," or just some guy was just rude in traffic and it had nothing to do with it, she was a woman, or that she had a Bernie sticker. It'd be easy for me to say that, but it's a great example. It's a great example. Now, some people throw around white privilege way too much, and they make it seem like all white guys, we just fly around in, you know, our own helicopters and people just hand us gold and diamonds. No, that's not true. You know, I'm a middle-class guy. I'm not crazy wealthy by any stretch of the imagination. My car has 240,000 miles on it. You know, there's a lot about show business that's difficult. I've been a stand-up comic for a long time, and it's always been sort of the last 10 years of like, oh, we don't want as many white guys. And since the Oscars So White thing, you have TV networks, and there's certain TV shows I've been trying to get on as a comedian or as a panelist, and they say, oh, we got too many white guys. So I'm not famous enough to do that. I could complain, it's unfair, show business isn't fair, they're coming out to get the white man. Come on. You know what I mean? Come on. So I start doing this, I'm using technology. So my point is like, if you're a white male, you gotta listen to this a little bit. You have to really listen. And if you don't have many friends of color, if you do, ask them. Don't get into an argument on Facebook. Sit down like this and ask them, what's it like? Give me some examples. And you're gonna find out that it is uneven in this country. You know, if a cop is shooting an unarmed anyone, man, woman, white, black, brown, whatever, there's a problem. First of all, that's a bigger issue. The gun issue, the way the cops have been militarized, that's a bigger issue, but it's still wrong. If an unarmed person is being shot, then why don't they use non-lethal force, tasers, any of this other stuff? Why are they just getting gunned down? You know? Why is it automatically a black male is treated that way? You see these videos. What's happening is police departments have been doing this for a long time, but now because everyone has a camera in their phone, it's kind of hard to dispute it. It's kind of hard to dispute it. And you're seeing like that guy that got shot in Chicago by those cops. Sure, he had a knife on him, but they just all unloaded on him. They couldn't have tased him. They couldn't have taken him down any of. They couldn't have maced him until he dropped the gun or the knife, and then get on top of him and handcuff him. So, you have to understand that. And this whole, you know, the white man he's getting infringed upon. That element of the Trump supporters, that's like the white nationalists, the neo-Nazis, or the white man's fighting back. The white man isn't getting privileges taken away. What has happened is the white men have had it all, and now it's just getting even. So think about it. 40, 50 years ago, if you were a white male, you didn't have to compete with jobs with women, which is 50% of the population, blacks, Latinos, Asian. You only had to compete with jobs with other white men. And now you have to compete with everybody. And to complain about that and say, oh, it's just like I've seen lunatics on Twitter, #white-genocide. No one's taking out the white man. It's just making it more even. I remember when I first moved to Los Angeles in the mid to late 90s, and a girl in my acting class was Asian, and she said, you know, no one ever looked like me on television. And I had never considered that. I grew up, everyone looked like me on TV. I watch all the cop shows, Hawaii Five-0, Mannix, you know, Captain Kirk, all these guys, all these white males that kind of looked like me. I had all these role models to look up to. She had nobody on TV that looked like her. Nobody. There was not one Asian woman on TV. It's been 51 years since an Asian or Latino woman has won an Oscar. 50 years. This year will be 50, well, if no one gets nominated this year, it'll be 51 years. So that, I hadn't ever considered that. Nobody looked like her on TV. So that's the thing you got to understand. The Statue of Liberty doesn't say, give me you're sick, you're tired, you're poor, provided they're a straight, white, heterosexual Christian. Like, it's for everybody. And that's also, too, like, if you make something like a TV show and everyone's black on it or whatever, that's not diverse either. Diversity is everybody. And if you're like, I'm tired of hearing about this white privilege, you've enjoyed some of it. And it's not about, no one's coming to get you. Just have an open mind about it. This is the problem that progressives have with the right, is the right never wants to hear anything. They don't want to hear a different point of view. They just don't. And then when liberals are critical or have referred to some Trump supporters as racist or whatever, say, oh, you're supposed to be so open-minded and tolerant. Well, no, I'm not tolerant of racism. I'm not tolerant of somebody doing the Nazi salute at a Trump rally. I'm not tolerant of Richard Spencer and his alt-right movement at all. I'm not. So to say I'm supposed to, if you think that's what liberal is, I'm just supposed to accept even the KKK, no, I don't want to accept them. They have a First Amendment right to say what they want to say, but I have a First Amendment right to say I think they're racist assholes. So keep an open mind on stuff. Graham Elwood, Church of Batman.